The HOA Dictator Part 2. The web of corruption. I walked back into my house. The legal foreclosure threat burning a hole in my hand. Sarah was sitting on the couch, holding her pregnant belly. Tears were streaming down her face. She had seen Margaret hand me the envelope from the front window. "Mark, what are we going to do?" she cried, her voice trembling. "Are we going to lose the house before the baby even gets here?" Seeing her like that broke my heart. I sat next to her, pulled her close, and made a promise. "We are not losing this house. I'm going to fix this. I just need you to trust me." The next morning, I woke up early and drove to the local bank. I sat in the branch manager's office and asked for a cashier's check for $4,500. The manager, a nice older man named Dave, looked at the payee name on my withdrawal slip. He saw the words, Whispering Pines HOA. Dave let out a heavy sigh and looked at me with deep pity. "Margaret got you too, huh?" he asked quietly. I was surprised. "You know her?" Dave shook his head in absolute disgust. "Everyone in this town knows her. She banks here. I have personally seen her force 3 different families into foreclosure this year alone. One of them was a single mother with 2 little kids. Margaret is absolutely ruthless." "Be careful, Mark." Hearing that from a bank manager made my blood run cold. This wasn't just a power trip. This was a systematic operation. I took the check and drove back to my neighborhood. I parked my car and started walking down the street to find Margaret. But before I even reached her property, I saw something that made me sick to my stomach. 2 houses down from me lived Mr. Henderson. He was an 80-year-old military veteran who lived alone. He walked with a cane and barely ever left his front porch. Right now, Mr. Henderson was on his hands and knees on his concrete driveway in the sweltering morning heat. He was furiously scrubbing a tiny, barely visible oil drop with a wire brush. Standing right over him was Margaret. She was sitting comfortably in her customized golf cart, holding a cup of iced coffee. "Scrub harder, Arthur," she barked at him. "If that stain isn't completely gone by noon, I am fining you $200 for environmental property damage. You know the rules." The poor old man was gasping for air, his hands shaking violently as he scrubbed. "I'm trying, Margaret," he wheezed. "My arthritis is just acting up really badly today." "I don't care about your joints, Arthur. I care about property values," she snapped back. I wanted to run over there and scream at her. I wanted to grab that iced coffee and pour it all over her perfect hair. But I remembered the legal envelope sitting on my kitchen counter. I remembered my pregnant wife crying on the couch. I couldn't lose my temper now. I had to play the long game. I took a deep breath, forced a calm expression onto my face, and walked up to her golf cart. Margaret saw me approaching and rolled her eyes. "What do you want, Mark? Can't you see I'm busy enforcing the neighborhood standards?" I reached into my pocket and pulled out the cashier's check. "I have your money," I said quietly. I handed her the check for $4,500. It was every single dollar from our emergency savings account. Margaret took the check, a wicked, triumphant smirk spreading across her face. She held it up to the sun, inspecting it to make sure it was real. "A very smart decision, Mark," she gloated. "I knew you would finally understand how things work around here. This is a community of strict standards. Just keep your grass cut, and we won't have any more problems. Have a blessed day." She drove away in her golf cart, leaving me and Mr. Henderson in the driveway. She thought she had broken me. She thought she had won. But as I helped Mr. Henderson stand up and walk back to my house, I wasn't defeated. I was calculating. I went straight to my home office and locked the door. I closed the blinds and booted up my custom-built desktop with 3 ultra-wide monitors. It was time to go to work. By law, homeowners associations are registered nonprofit organizations. This means their financial records, vendor contracts, and tax filings are legally required to be accessible to the public. Most HOAs bury this information in mountains of confusing paperwork at the county clerk's office. They make it as difficult as possible, hoping nobody will ever have the patience to look. But I am a senior data architect. I don't need to look through paper. I wrote a custom Python script to scrape the county's digital database. I set the parameters to pull every single public financial record associated with the Whispering Pines HOA over the last 5 years. Within 2 hours, the script finished running. Thousands of documents, invoices, and bank transfers flooded my screens. I brewed a strong pot of coffee and started analyzing the data. At first glance, it looked like normal neighborhood expenses. There were line items for road repairs, pool maintenance, and landscaping. But then, my data sorting algorithm flagged a massive anomaly. Every single month, the HOA was paying exactly $25,000 to a company called Greenleaf Property Solutions for neighborhood landscaping and maintenance. That is $300,000 a year. The problem? Whispering Pines only has one small community park, and the grass in that park was cut once a month by 2 local teenagers driving a rusty pickup truck. We definitely did not have a high-end corporate landscaping company working here. I started digging into Greenleaf Property Solutions. It wasn't a real company. It was a ghost LLC, registered to a cheap P.O. box at a local strip mall. My fingers flew across the keyboard. I bypassed a few basic security protocols to access the state's corporate registry database. I needed to find the incorporation documents for Greenleaf. I needed to see who actually owned this fake company. When the PDF document finally loaded on my screen, my jaw hit the floor. The registered owner of the LLC wasn't a landscaper. It was a man named Richard Vance. I immediately ran a background check on Richard Vance. He was Margaret's brother-in-law. The picture became crystal clear. Margaret wasn't just a power-hungry dictator bullying pregnant women over yellow tulips. She was a massive fraud. She was a criminal. She was using her position as HOA president to funnel hundreds of thousands of dollars of our neighborhood dues directly into her family's bank accounts. She did it all through fake invoices. But I didn't stop there. Once I knew what to look for, the floodgates opened. I found fake invoices for non-existent pool repairs. I found kickbacks from the neighborhood's mandatory painting service. I even found out that her luxurious 2-week vacation to Hawaii last year was paid for by the HOA. She had labeled it as a community leadership training conference in the financial logs. She was stealing from every single hard-working family in Whispering Pines, and now I had all the proof. I hit print. The printer hummed as 50 pages of undeniable, hard-coded financial fraud piled up on my desk. I looked at the calendar on my wall. The annual Whispering Pines HOA neighborhood meeting was scheduled for this Friday night in the community clubhouse. Every homeowner would be there. Margaret thought she was untouchable. She was about to find out what happens when you mess with the wrong IT guy. Will Mark expose Margaret's massive fraud to the entire neighborhood? How will the evil HOA dictator react when her darkest secrets are projected on big screen? Find out in episode 3. If you are ready for some pure, satisfying karma, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to Littell's All. Let us know in the comments, what is the craziest thing an HOA or bad neighbor has ever done to you? Turn on the notification bell. The ultimate revenge is coming.